In this package, Akwa Ibom Independent Power Plant to generate 685 megawatts of electricity. Junior engineers, technicians and scientists jet stock to be revived in secondary schools in the state. Subsidy reinvestment and empowerment program shortly abolished by the federal government. Details shortly. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Akaniyene Obo. The Independent Power Plant Ikorabasi has been given approval to increase its power generation from 191 to 685 megawatts. Governor Udom Emmanuel disclosed this while addressing members of the State House of Assembly who paid him a solidarity visit. Government House Bureau Chief Colonel Edemefreti reports that Governor Udom Emmanuel will receive the license to this effect today in Abuja.
Said license for the increase in power generation by the State Independent Power Plant will be presented to him in Abuja on Thursday this week. Mr. Udom Emmanuel said the power plant is now generating between 103 and 110 megawatts, and that increasing its generation to 685 would mean 24 hours steady supply in the state, which total consumption is 167, adding that it could also be sold to other interested consumers, thereby increasing the state's financial yield. He informed the lawmakers that his administration got 300 million naira 2 weeks ago for the establishment of a sub-injection station along the Edetakwan Avenue, saying it would save the Shelter Africa and Iduwan area. The governor added that 4 Plant has promised to establish another sub-injection station along the Champion Lewis to save the downtown area into the Shelter Africa area. Mr. Udom Emmanuel, who reiterated his commitment to moving the state forward, said a total of 60,000 jobs are to be created within his first year in office.
Today we are also working on resource transmission lines about the capacity development and the expansion of the city. So I'm sure as we are working on our story, you see the quality of power is improved. And as I told you, access power is only improved with the to swing the power supply. So we see the way people complain at times they collapse for that transmission.
The governor hinted that groundbreaking for a refinery to be sited at Eket, which was supposed to have been done this month end, has been shifted to enable government complete the formality of settling the community and filling the location before commencement of work. Mr. Udom Emmanuel said the choice of the location for some of the projects, such as the refinery, is determined by the investors given their area of preference. The governor also spoke on the coconut oil refinery with credit to the chairman of Mkparenin, Istinobolo and Ikorabasi for facilitating government's acquiring of the land. Earlier, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Mr. Nyakanuko, had told the governor that the House members were on the solidarity visit to let him know that the lawmakers were solidly behind him as he pursued his industrialization program for the state. Mr. Ukuru also felicitated the governor on his success at the tribunal, told him that all members of the assembly were successful at the tribunal too, except for Barrister Ime Okun of Ibionon constituency, whose election was annulled by the tribunal. He informed the governor of the results of the House to ensure the return of Barrister Okun to the House, as well as the sustenance of the mandate of the governor in case of reruns.
We get particularly to tell you, as the people representing the people that voted for you, to come and show solidarity today, and to also tell you that the Akwa people are still ready and eager for you anytime, every day.
Colonel
31 local governments of the state have been urged to collaborate with stakeholders in the health sector to tackle health problems facing people in their areas. The call was made by Governor Udom Emmanuel during the flag-off of this year's Mass Drug Administration for the control of neglected tropical diseases in the state. Patience John reports that the governor was represented by his deputy, Mr. Moses Ego.
The governor regretted that 4 of the neglected tropical diseases, river blindness transmitted by black flies, elephantiasis transmitted by mosquitoes, soil transmitted helminthiasis transmitted through fecal contaminated soil, and schistosomiasis transmitted through freshwater snails are endemic in the state. He promised that in view of the development, the state government will put in place measures to eliminate the diseases. The governor added that the programs aimed at socio-economic empowerment of the people will be carried out. Governor Udom Emmanuel equally acknowledged the contribution of Helen Keller, a major partner in the state in the fight against these diseases, and called on Akwa Ibom people, especially those in the riverine areas, to avail themselves of the vaccine. The
Akwa Ibom state government wants a very healthy society. It needs a healthy society. And the Muslim character, but we want Ifeanyi to be the point of contact for the entire state. That is a the time where when 2001 years and and secondly,
the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Dominic Ukbong, said the program will include community mobilization, health education, and training of health officers to achieve the goals of preventing and treating the diseases. He explained that 11 local government areas have recorded the prevalence of lymphatic filariasis and are currently receiving attention.
This disease attracted government attention because of its associated socio-economic and public health problems. It destroys the skin by producing rashes, nodules, and leopard skin, ending in irreversible blindness. This is donated free by the American pharmaceutical company called Merck Sharp and Dohme, MSD. These drugs are given to people according to height from 1 to 4 tablets using community-directed treatment with ivermectin.
The Transition Committee Chairman in Ikot-Ekpene, Mr. Unyeme Etam, thanked the state government which has partnered the Helen Keller Foundation to bring succor to the people by donating free drugs and vaccines to treat the neglected tropical diseases. He promised the support of the local government's area to enable the exercise to succeed. Helen Keller International is an agency with the aim of collaborating with stakeholders to save the lives of vulnerable and disadvantaged members of the society. Patience John reporting.
Operators of courier shipping and freight services in the state have been directed to register with the Ministry of Transport. The Commissioner for Transport, Dr. Godwin Tobele, gave the directive when he met with operators of road and water freight, cargo airlines, and air ticket booking. Eyalanoko reports.
Dr. Ntigude said it is part of the mandate of the ministry to coordinate and to regulate the activities of the organizations engaging in transport business. The Commissioner said henceforth, dealers on courier services, bulk rods, cements, among other goods, have to register with the ministry to ensure control, expertise, standard, in addition to obtaining clearance certificates before operating in the state. He lauded them for turning out for the meeting ensued for cooperation between them and the ministry.
We called you to identify with us because this is indeed the mother company, the mother organization that oversees activities that relate to your own areas of the enterprise, so that we know those who truly are courier companies for good, and we know intruders, identify them, and try to ensure that they don't operate within a civilized environment.
In their separate comments, the operators of courier and shipping companies, Mr. Victor Essien and Mr. Victor Kwat, lamented multiple ticketing, delay of goods at the airport, and harassment by touts, saying they spend more than the revenue they generate. They appealed to the state government to provide a conducive environment for them to operate.
Thank God we are all from Niger Delta, either from Delta or Benin or Rivers or Bible or Cross River.
Some are franchise like myself, which you know. And when the environment is not there, conducive, you can't break even.
The commissioner promised to look into their issues and advised them to be law abiding. Iyagenopo report.
A 5-member committee has been inaugurated by the Ministry of Transport to enlighten drivers and commuters on traffic rules. The committee has Friday Udonya as the coordinator. Again, Eyarenopo reports.
Addressing the committee members, Dr. Godwin Tugude said that scope of work include checking drivers who drive, overloading, non-use of seat belts, making and receiving calls while on steering. The commissioner said they will also check irregular use of vehicles without tire gauge, light and spare tires. He advised them to make impact in the transport subsector and not to compromise their job on any ground.
It is expected that in all and within the stratas of Akwa Ibom State, you should feel the impact of organization, commitment, corporateness, respect to constituted authority. And so, we expect that our transporters, transport stakeholders, should begin to imbibe this new spirit that is now in charge in Akwa Ibom State.
Also, the staff of the Ministry of Transport have felicitated their commissioner, Prince Godwin Tugude, for bagging a doctorate degree from the University of Uyo. Speaking on behalf of the staff, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Effiong-Obia, said the honor is not only for the commissioner, but for the entire ministry, and congratulated Dr. Tugude for the feat. The Permanent Secretary also used the medium to call on the staff of the ministry to improve themselves by studying to any level.
We'll identify with you in this huge success, and we want to tell you that the ministry is very, very happy with you. The time you have taken out of your very tight schedule to go to school, to study, and to obtain a PhD is not a joking matter, sir.
Responding, the Commissioner, Dr. Godwin Tugude, appreciated the staff for rejoicing with him. Dr. Tugude noted that it is hard work and dedication that have granted him the success, urging the staff to take decisions that will better their lives. He thanked God for the opportunity to study to acquire a doctorate degree.
I'm aware that before today, through the Permanent Secretary, this ministry, with your support, you have done so much to appreciate God and to thank Him for what He has done in my life. I want to appreciate and say that God, who has seen your heart of appreciation, heart of support, will never ever leave you without giving you victory, testimonies, successes.
Iyagenopo reporting.
The groundbreaking ceremony of the International Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability and Research, University of Uyo, has been held. The event, which took place at the University of Uyo, had Executive Director, Human Resources, Exxon Noble, Ms. Udominoyo, as one of the dignitaries. The ceremony, which was one of the highlights of the just concluded 21st convocation of the University of Uyo, attracted the cream of the University of Uyo community, former Commissioner for Finance and Management Consultant and wife, Sir and Lady Sandu Ubokwan, as well as the celebration of the research initiative of two great Nigerians, Dr. Edwinam of the Chemistry Department, University of Uyo, and Dr. Julius Akinyemi of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, United States of America. The research center, which would be made up of 3 advanced laboratories and data processing room, high-tech lecture room, and offices is the effort of Dr. Edwinam. Ms. Udominoyo, who was represented by Dr. Chidi Enogwe, manager upstream Nigeria Laboratories, ExxonMobil, pledged his support and that of ExxonMobil to the Uyo International Energy Center, describing the center as a great research effort to better the lot of the humanity. Dr. Edwinam, in her speech, commended the Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo, Professor Comfort Epo, for her support in the actualization of her research dreams, and praised Mr. Udominoyo for his support. It's still Channel 45 News at dawn. We now take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. So good to have you back. The People's Democratic Party has won over 90% of the petitions leveled against it and its candidates in the 2015 elections in the state. The State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Wimidi Manwoko, said in a television panel discussion program, Discourse, that less than 10% are to be determined by a higher court. The panelists, which included the Special Assistant to Governor Odom Emmanuel on Legal Matters, Barrister Andem, and the President of Highway Union, Parawan Sobe, said they have confidence in the higher court because there was a deviation in the train of judgment as delivered by the tribunal chairman. They said of the 38 petitions brought before the tribunal by the APC, 35 have been resolved completely in favor of the PDP. The panel kicked against the sitting of an election petitions tribunal outside where the elections took place, saying such is an infringement on the electoral law. The panelists encouraged the people to remain resolute as there was no cause to worry because their mandate freely given to Mr. Udom Emmanuel remains intact.
A lot of those cases, so many of them, were not filed by the contestants. What happened was that APC wanted to paint a picture of a widespread malpractice or non-compliance in Akwa Ibom State. So even when the candidates who contested these elections knew that they had failed, legitimately failed, and had no redeemable opportunity of doing anything about it, their leadership just felt, send me your name and your constituency will file a case for you.
The people of Akwa Ibom freely gave him a mandate, and he knew that by no conjecture, by no arrangement, by no configuration will any tribunal anywhere sit somewhere to take away his mandate. So he was not distracted at all. That's why you see, even within the period that we're in court, he registered monumental developmental strides. So that's not a man that was disturbed at all.
But I want to thank God that most of the people that entered the winners box stood their ground to say there was election in Akwa Ibom State.
Junior engineers, technicians and scientists Jets Club is to be revived in secondary schools in the state to meet contemporary challenges in science and technology. The Commissioner for Science and Technology, Dr. Elizabeth Obot, while speaking on AKBC Current Affairs program, unveiling the mandate, said the program will be undertaken in conjunction with the Ministry of Education. The rest of the story is presented by Imo Umana.
She said the state government has created a robust ICT infrastructure, adding that the state will soon to be linked with local governments through internet. Dr. Obot explained that Governor Udom Emmanuel is creating a technological developed economy. The Science and Technology Commissioner hinted that the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board JAMB has approved Akwa Ibom e-library as examination center, adding that 500 computers at the e-library and the VADOC center at Obimo Street are functional for use by Akwa Ibom youth for this and other purposes. According to her, the Ministry of Science and Technology is working with other relevant ministries, including the Ministry of Youth and Sport, in identifying and training of youth in ICT.
Already we know the 5-point agenda of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, of job creation, wealth creation, industrialization, food sufficiency, economic and political inclusion. Now, to drive these policies, the Ministry of Science and Technology is vested with creating a technologically driven economy of this state, as well as development of manpower.
The art of bringing up a child in the way of God is said to have a multiplier effect on the larger society. The state governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, said this at St. Paul's Parish, West Etam, in its local government area, during the dedication of Miss Idiom from Raphael Edem. Patience John completes the story.
The governor, who was represented by the deputy governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, thanked the church for its role in molding characters and described the church as a change agent that can stimulate the needed positive values among members of the society. The governor said that children who are brought up in the fear of God will grow into responsible citizens. He also commended the church for praying for government, which he noted has led to the effective development of the state.
His prayers are that this child should grow under the leadership of the God Almighty and grant the parents sufficient tutelage so that she indeed can grow in the knowledge of God, the great daughter of Akwa Ibom State.
Thanking God for the gift of the baby, Idiom Fon, who is the second child to the family of Mr. and Mrs. Raphael Edem. The parents expressed joy to God for the safety of the baby and the blessings they have received from God in their lives. Mr. Raphael Edem, who is a special assistant to Governor Udom Emmanuel, thanked guests for honoring them and promised to nurture the baby to become useful to the society.
I only can give God all the glory for starting with us and for taking us through to the end.
Please God that my young family should have a daughter in their own family added to their family. And that is why we brought her here, to thank God.
Long life, good health, prosperity and God's protection were wishes of some guests to the baby.
Having a daughter is having riches of God in their family. They should be able to lead them in the way of the Lord.
Take good care of the child and also continue to live their life as try to their community, try to allow people to have access to him.
Earlier, Reverend Father Patrick Edetu commented on the name of the baby, Idiom Fon, admonished parents to be mindful of what name they give their children, as such could have effect on the bearers. Patience John, reporting.
Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Raphael Edem. All Stars Football Club of Uyo at the weekend was held to a 1-1 draw with visiting African United All Stars of Rivers State. Playing before a moderate crowd at the Uyo Township Stadium, the Uyo side, with already players like ex-Rovers Johnson, Joseph Ebiofo, former House of Assembly member Sakide Pan, President of Uyo All Stars Felix Udo and Okonabanda, filed pressure and the visitors who failed to utilize scoring chances that came their way. The visitors' African United All-Stars capitalized on a defensive blunder by the Uyo All-Stars to open scores in the second half. The goal served as a tonic for the Uyo All-Stars side, which mounted pressure on their opponent, forcing them to commit a foul in the 18 meters box for resultant penalty. In an interview after the match, the president of Uyo All-Stars, Comrade Felix Udor, said the match was aimed at building bridges of unity between the two states, a view shared by his Rivers State counterpart, Joseph Ohise.
The kind of challenge we had in Akwa Ibom State as far as All-Stars team is concerned, we also decided to come together to rock lines and compare notes and how we can lift football higher and higher in the two states, Rivers and Akwa Ibom State.
And yet, the All-Stars here, and to see how we can, know ourselves and get familiar to each other. And we are also preparing to host them, as they are hosting us maybe by first quarter of next year.
The Director of Sports, Coach Anyedi Dixon, and the Secretary of All-Stars, Uyo, Comrade Emmanuel Lebon, expressed happiness of the spirit of comradeship exhibited by both clubs and hope that such spirit will be emulated by other groups.
The cordial relationship between the River State and Akwa Ibom is what we are really talking about, and we have exhibited it in a game of football.
On the national and foreign scene, President Muhammadu Buhari abolished his subsidy reinvestment program, SHOPI. The Romanian Prime Minister resigns amidst protest and rising tension. Details with Samuel Ayana.
Buhari has abolished the Subsidy Reinvestment and Empowerment Program, SHOPI, with an instruction to the Presidential Committee and workers of the agency to close the offices. The order was handed to the SHOPI committee in a letter from the Office of the Secretary to the federal government, which directed the panel to wind down operations. Buhari also ordered a probe into the activities, funding, and expenditure of the agency, which is expected to submit a comprehensive report of its activities to the presidency. The Senate President Bukola Saraki has formally filed an appeal at the Supreme Court over the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which last week dismissed his application seeking to stop his trial before the Code of Conduct Tribunal on the 13-count charge bordering on false asset declaration. Saraki, in the latest appeal, is seeking a stay of proceedings, urging the Apex Court to halt the proceedings of the Code of Conduct Tribunal to try him for the alleged offenses. He also raised concern over the split decision of the appeal court, where it held there was a lacuna regarding the quorum of the tribunal. Decades of holdbacks and no love lost relationship between China and Taiwan could be finding a common ground for both countries, as Chinese President Xi Jinping and Taiwanese counterpart Ma Ying-jeou will be meeting on Saturday. According to Chinese authorities, the two men would exchange views on promoting the peaceful development of cross-strait relations. The meeting, which is described as historic, would be a breakthrough in direct exchange and communication between the two leaders after hardship and twist since 1949, a day after 2,000 people took to the streets protesting against a nightclub fire that left 32 people dead. Romanian Prime Minister Victor Ponta has resigned. The inferno in Bucharest nightclub started when a band performing at the club set off fireworks. Ponta, who is accused of corruption and poor safety supervision, is the first sitting Romanian Prime Minister to be formally accused of corruption during the summer on allegation of fraud, tax evasion, and money laundering. A Russian-built cargo plane has crashed on takeoff near the international airport in South Sudan's capital, Juba, claiming about 40 lives. Of the 40 dead, it is unclear how many of the victims were on board the plane and the number that were on ground. Report has it that the plane was heading to Palok in Upper Nile State, but crashed 800 meters from the runway.
The body of a renowned engineer, educationist and philanthropist, the first indigenous petroleum engineering manager in Shell Petroleum Development Company in Nigeria, Dr. Joshua Reuben Udofia, who died on April 8, 2015 in the United Kingdom, is to be buried in his hometown, Afarafia. He was aged 69. A funeral statement from the family signed by the son, Dr. Ito Udofia, indicates the burial would take place on Saturday, November 7, 2015, at the family compound in Afarafia, instead of the local government area. After a funeral service to be conducted by private church at Afarafia at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Salvation Army Primary School, Afarafia. Born into the family of late Chief Reuben Udofia of Nodo Kwalu, known as of Afarafia and Nsligo. Dr. Joshua Udofia had great passion for education, as well as known for his professionalism, diligence, integrity, mentorship, and leadership qualities. According to the statement, he won a scholarship by Shell to study at the University of Birmingham in the UK, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering, and later joined Shell Petroleum Development Company, where he worked for 37 years, before retiring in 2006. After his final posting as Senior Corporate Advisor. While with the Shell, Dr. Joshua Udofia served in Nigeria, Netherlands, Oman, and the United Kingdom, and held many senior positions in the company, including Head of Petroleum Engineering, Operations Manager, and Deputy Managing Director, among other leadership positions. In 2003, Dr. Udofia was awarded an honorary doctorate degree in engineering by the University of Makurdi by his service and contributions to the engineering sector in Nigeria. He co-founded Gulf of Guinea Energy Limited (GOGE) in 2007, where he served as the Chief Executive Officer until 2009 when GOGE was acquired by Seven Energy International Limited. He also founded Rodolph Farms, where he served as chairman. He is survived by his wife, 4 children, 7 grandchildren, 2 sisters, and many nephews and nieces. You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45 or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. To end the news, a look at the major stories. The state governor, Mr. Udomi Emmanuel, has said that a private independent power plant is to generate 685 megawatts of electricity. He disclosed this when he received members of the State House of Assembly in Government House. We also brought you a report that the federal government has abolished the Subsidy Reinvestment and Empowerment Program, SHOPI. That's our package this Thursday morning. Thanks so much for watching. May your day be good. Good morning.